Here's a 3-part framework of how systemizing your business could improve your operations. And I'm telling you this because ever since I started playing the game this way myself, I had a lot of good that came from it. My name is Landon William, and I'm lead operator for Clevy Media, where we design lead generation systems for the businesses that work with us. But we didn't always do systems per se. A little while back, I started thinking about things a little bit differently, and when I had this change of thought, I incorporated it into the business, and I had a lot of good that came from it. Let me show you what I mean. So part 1 is this. When you systemize, you streamline. It's the same thing. So when you have your business operations, you boil those down to the finest variables there. What are your core services? How do you supply those things? And what does it take to get there? And so when you streamline all the process, part of the processes there, you simplify it for you. So you're reducing all the fluff, you're getting rid of it, and when you boil it down to the main base systems and services and what you're really looking to achieve, you know that every single process and every single method within your service is going to be the same. So like every single time that you go out and get a customer, that's going to be the same. When you go out and you provide the service to that customer, that's also the same. So you know what to generally expect. And then when you can do that, you know what you need to achieve and you know how to improve too. It's kind of like how Jordan Belfort talks about with the Streamline method, with Streamline sales method. Every single sale is the same. You know, every single sale, it starts with an open and you get to a close. And you've got a little bit of gray area between there. So you've got your line and you've got your barriers. You're going to go up and down with the different changes in every single part of your system and your services, but the core tenets are still the same. Find out where your core tenets are, and you can streamline, simplify, and it reduces a whole lot of headache on your part. So now that you are streamlining your business operations, you know what to expect. When you know what to expect, once you get your lead, all you got to do is run them through your system. So you now have a system. So we've got your system here. This is your lead. You get a lead, and what you're going to want to do here is you've got your system, okay? So this is your system. This represents your system. These are your barriers. So this is going to be your variable change rate of what's going to be happening within your service process. But you got your lead, and we'll mark this over here. This is the end of the line. That's going to be what they achieve at the end of the service position. So once you've provided all your services to them, this is now what it's going to be. So think of it as a landscaping customer. You get a lead over here, and you're running them on the line, and you're getting them as a monthly retainer, and maybe you're doing their lawn care. So you're doing their lawn care, and you run them along the line. But now you as a business, you have a system here, okay? So every lead, while being different, is going to be the same. Every single process to get to here is going to be the same. You systemize it. You don't have to now guess what you're going to do. You just know, okay, so this is their lawn. They've got a whole bunch of crap going on here. We need to do this, this, and this, and this is how we're going to get there. Instead of having to guess about all these things, you already know what you're going to do as a business. You know, I need this method, I need this product, and I'm going to use this service in order to get there. You just do it. It's a system. You remove all the guesswork. You don't do anything like that. And so like for us, our clients are going to be over here. So they're getting less leads. They don't know what they want to do. They're really slowing down, or they just want to grow. You know, we have both different things happen. So they're over here. We know we can get them over here, which is as many leads as they want. This is the gray area in between here. And so for us, what we do is we've got all our methods, okay? We know that we're going to do the website. We know that we're going to do the ads. We're going to have a little bounce area, a little bit of gray area in between this line, but we know that we're going to do this, and we're going to do it with this, this, and this method to ensure that they get from here to here. You systemize it, you simplify it, remove the extra variables that aren't going to need to do that, because it's like there's some places that are doing, you got the website design here, we got the ads here, but we also have social media management, okay? We also have super honed in SEO work. We also do e-commerce stores. All of these different variables that can just add different kinks into your path to get you there. Maybe it gets you there, but it's not going to get you from here to here as fast as it could, or as smart as it could. So when you're adding all of those different variables, it now creates a lot of different parts of the process. So for us, when you do 2 core tenants, you got your website and your ads, we know that when something isn't working, we know it's either the ads or the website. And we can fix that, we can figure it out faster instead of being like, okay, maybe it's the SEO. Let's pour a whole bunch of time into that just to figure out that it was the ads the whole time. So you're gonna do all of these different things instead of just focusing on what is really going to be driving your success. So when you're spreading yourself too thin, have all of these different areas and all these different facets of risk of what could be attached to creating a problem and creating just distraction within your business processes. So when you cut it down to your core key tenets of what you're gonna do to achieve the outcome, so go back to the landscaping example, if you know that you just have a couple of these different things that you can streamline it down to. Maybe other people are gonna do all these fancy weed and feed products and overcomplicating things, but if you just boil it down to the key tenets of what you need to get done that is going to ensure their customer success, then you're going to cut out all that kind of stuff. You're going to cut out product price, like just overhead. You're going to clean out all that crap. It's just clutter. It's just distraction. When you get down to the core things that you're doing, then you can really work on making those as good as possible. And you also just eliminate any area of extra risk that you don't need to be having. So part one of this is create a pipeline of your business operation. So that way you know that you've got all of these key things. Look at it and say, okay, what is really driving the success here? What is the main part of the customer process? What is the main part of the business operation system? Whatever. Look at your main things that are going to be driving the growth behind that and press into those really hard. And then once you have that, it's a pure numbers game. So you know, I can get really good at this, and I can get really good at this, and I don't have to worry about every other thing. You're just focusing on making those things as good as possible. It's a numbers game. So next up is part two. And part two is going to be something that I've kind of already alluded to already. And that is going to be what you are physically going to do, is taking your existing product or service and punching out what are the key variables, like I was just speaking on, and then figure out how you would turn that into an integrated solution. So for us, and this is kind of what I was mentioning earlier, and I'm going to illustrate this because I can't really do it for you of what you are, but I can speak on myself. And so for us, what we knew is that I knew that the companies that I was working with, a lot of these blue collar companies, they really don't have a large online presence, or if they do, it maybe could be optimized better. So we know that an online presence is the main focus here, okay? So that's the industry that we want to focus on, because that's completely an untapped market. Some companies are doing just a lot of referral stuff, a lot of word of mouth. So a lot of these people put a lot of focus and trust really into referrals, because referrals are kind of unpredictable. You know, with some hope that they're always going to be there, but you can't physically know that it's happening and when it's happening, how much it's happening, etc. So when you can put those into trackable efforts, that's going to be an appealing factor for people, because that's going to be where you can put effort behind something that you know is going to have numbers, that you're going to see what the effects are, and you can change things as needed instead of shooting into the dark. So the first part of that for us was web design. Web design is going to be a big one. Excuse my handwriting. I'm trying to make it big and it's hard to write on a whiteboard like this. We know that that's going to be a major part here. So a lot of people aren't going to be doing that already. We know that if we have that, that's a great place to start. Just a major part there. So the online presence and trackable effort behind their growth is going to be the goal here. So that's the industry. What is going to be needed to do that? We know a website's going to be part of it, because no matter what you're doing, you've got your social media, you got your ads, Facebook ads people run, you've got all these different things. If that's not, those are all really going to be pointing to something like a website. We said, okay, we've got web design. That's a great place to start. What else is another thing like web design that a lot of people probably aren't going to be doing, but is going to be a really key core tenet of this? And we know we don't want to do anything that's going to be just a trend, like some kind of AI marketing or something else like SEO, because SEO is just requiring a lot of work. There's nothing wrong with SEO. There's nothing that's going to be bad by putting effort into it. It just takes a lot of effort. If you can do a good website, that's already going to be coming with the SEO. SEO specialists on top of that, that's just going to be extra, and that's extra icing on the cake. So if you build the site right, the SEO is already going to be pretty good enough. SEO, that's still a little chancy. What's a way that we know that we can get traffic behind the site? Advertising, paid advertising. If you have paid advertising, then you are obviously going to get views on the site. So things like social media marketing, those are chancy, just like referrals. You're doing them, and sure, they're going to create growth, they're going to create traction within your business, but you're not being able to literally know that you put in X and you're going to get some type of Y out. You can better track what Y you're going to get out this way. And so what we do is we run the ads. So we know that ads and website design are going to be more important likely than anything like social media management and content creation and really dialed in SEO work and any other thing under the sun that you want to throw at it. We know that these two things are going to be the core pieces of how this business is going to be able to help other businesses grow. So we simplified this, cut out all the rest, because all the rest is just going to create distraction on our front, because we want to focus on getting as good as humanly possible on these two fronts, and anything else is going to be icing on the cake that they can get with extra work. So we know that on our behalf, we can do a great job on this, and we simplify it. We pipeline that, turn it into a pipeline. We systemize this. So now that we've got this and this, we create a system with it. So the website design, it's great on its own. You've got the website, but maybe the only thing with it is that if you've got the website, how do you know you're going to get traffic? How do you know you're going to get the value out of that and actually convert people with it? So what we do is we run the ads to it. We know that this is going to couple with it. So you do both of these as a system. And when you've got the website, you can plug in the ads to it and it runs as a system. So that's going to be, you know that if you've dialed in all of your different conversion metrics, and that's another area we focus on, so I'll add that in here. You got their conversion metrics, website design, conversion metrics, those are systemized, okay? So we know that when somebody lands on the site, they're getting in touch with everything on the website, and when you have your conversion metrics in place, you can track it at a much higher rate of, I know that they're going to this site, okay, they're going to this page right here and they're checking with this box, and this box is really converting a lot, okay? So we've got this dialed in, we're split testing this here, we've got this going on over here, we're focusing on this, so this is actually, we know that the website is actually doing something. We've put in all our efforts into website design, we know that it's converting. When people are coming to it, they're converting into a customer, or from a visitor to a customer, okay? So we know that. But what's another thing that we can add on to it to create an even better system? Well, we got the ads. We know that we can pay places like Google to put this site in front of people. So it eliminates that facet of risk. So you maybe before you had the website design that's converting excellent, and all you need is a couple hundred people to come, and you got just a few more customers, and that's a couple $1,000s extra to your business. Huge, big wins. We like that. But it's a way that we know people are going to be coming to the site. Then you got ads. It all is systemized. You've got it all as this all in-house integrated platform. And Steve Jobs was really big on that. So Steve Jobs, when the Microsoft Apple wars were really going on, the main differences between them was that Apple really played into the integrated solution, and even still today, that's a major part of it, whereas Microsoft took the approach of the segmented way of doing things. So they had Windows, but you had your Windows, but that's just the operating system. You still need a computer. You need to figure out what computer you're going to get, what hardware you're going to get. And you've got that, and you've got all these different things. You got your computer parts, you got your hardware, you got the computer itself, monitor, all those different pieces of the puzzle. And then you got Windows. It's a decentralized approach, whereas you got Steve Jobs with Apple. Apple's designing the computer, Mac OS, and all of the different softwares it's going to go on. So you got your softwares like the App Store in the early 2000s. That's coming out with the iPad. You've got things like the iPad being created where that's coming into the ecosystem there. So you're creating this whole world of Apple where you know that when you get an Apple product, you don't have to worry about what extra hardware you're going to get because it's already chosen for you. And there's different pros and cons with all of these different things. But there's a reason Apple's such a big giant as it is right now. you have the Apple system that's being sold with an Apple computer exclusively, and that is going to be tied in with Apple products. You want to have Apple, you got to use the Apple headphones. You want to have Apple, you got to use apps that go with it. All of the different things like the App Store and what's on the App Store. All of that is embodied in one platform, one solution. It's an integrated solution. It's systemized. Which is going to take me into point numero 3, which is going to be eliminating risk and improve. So now you got your offer. You now need to figure out, okay, where are the weak points here? What could I improve here? What could I eliminate the risk of? So like for us, as I was just mentioning, we've got the website design. Okay, the website design is great. How do I know that when somebody comes to the site, they're actually going to get turned into a customer? Well, you safety net that with conversion metrics. So we know that when somebody goes onto this page, they're bound to get tracked by this section, which is going to convert them from a visitor into a customer. So we press in on the conversion metrics. Okay, so now the site's converting. We've eliminated the risk that it's not going to do anything for them. How else can we improve this? Well, the only way that we could improve it majorly is by guaranteeing that people show up to the site. Well, how do we do that? We do that with ads. So now that you've got your ads, you've got a solution, and you've got safety nets. You've eliminated the risks at every stage. So you've got their web design safety netted by conversion metrics. We know that people are coming to the site and getting converted. So now that we got people that are actually coming to the site and getting converted, how do we can we ensure that people are actually coming to the site? We do that by safety netting with ads. So you've got your ads, but how can we safety net ads? Well, and this is something that Alex Hormozi is big on. You create a grand slam offer, as he calls it. You figure out what you've got, you eliminate the risks to it, make it a no-brainer, and then once you do that, you pile it with guarantees. So you eliminate the risk even more. And so then, you've safety netted that. And you've created your systemized offer. So, to summarize, first, you now know that systemizing streamlines. And once you know that you gotta have a streamline, you know, okay, I could do pipelines with this. I could make it to where I've got my customer over here and I've got my solution over here. How do I get them from A to B? How do I walk them down that line? You make every single situation the same, so that way when you get a new customer, you know exactly what you're gonna do to get them there. So step 2 is you're systemizing your service, what you're actually going to do for yourself. So you're going to take your services that you currently have, you're going to systemize it, turn it into an integrated solution. So what are the core things that I need to be doing? What are the core parts of our services? The core tenets is the word that I keep using. Core tenets of our service, all the variables that we know are going to be really the main parts of it and the most important parts. Cut out all the rest of the fluff, make it to where it's everything you need and nothing that you don't. And the same goes for your customers. It'll be everything they need, that they actually need, and nothing that they don't. Or everything else that isn't they don't. It's just fluff and it's extra. And then step 3 is you create safety nets. So now you've got your integrated solution, you've got your systemized service, your approach is different now, whole thing. You now need to figure out, okay, we got this part of it and this part of it. How do we safety net that? How do we eliminate the risk of it? So you figure out how you eliminate risk, and then you create your grand slam offer with things like guarantees and any other thing that you want to do. You want to make it to where it's as good of an offer as possible, and that way you can get it in front of as many people as possible, and when you do that, they're going to be really attracted to buy. And when they buy, they're becoming a lead. And when you lead, you're leading them to their solution, okay? So every single thing is streamlined. You know what to do on every single part. You're not wasting time, you're not wasting money, and you can put as many people in front of that pipeline as possible, knowing that this, with high certainty, that this is going to be the achieved outcome for them. So when you get them from over here to over here, you're cutting your costs, cutting your time, all that stuff in between, and you're going from here to here, and you're systemizing your approach, making it as efficient as possible for you, allowing you to make the most money and grow really as much as you want to. And so that's really it. That's what I've got for you. I hope this was helpful. If it was, let me know. I'd actually really like to hear that. So until then, I will see you next time.